Very unfortunate comeback for Conor that he did to himself, I guess. We don't know if he had a pre-existing injury though. It's possible. There was a moment where he was kicking off his shoes outside the octagon. He was stumbling. Can't say for sure it was because of an injury there. Maybe he just lost his footing. Happens to everybody if you kick your shoes off like that. It could have been totally normal too. We have no idea. And then there was like a slight imbalance and it looked like he grimaced when he was turning to the stairs after one of the referees was checking his gloves and all that stuff. That they didn't show. And it's possible he came in there with an injury, but then that raises the question, why would he throw this kick if he knew he was injured? Did he want a faster way out? Did he just want to throw something out there knowing that he was compromised, so might as well throw something crazy? But that would have aggravated the injury, so I don't know about that. Maybe he thought, I can't pull out again. I pulled out last time against Chandler. I'm not going to do that again. So I'm going to go in there, fight, and try to land something to knock this guy out because I'm clearly not at 100%. That's another theory. We don't know if that's the case. We'll find out later.
Saturday night, the goal of that was to more look at the injury itself, talk about what I thought was most likely. There, of course, has now been this really widespread conspiracy that McGregor was injured before the fight. Bottom line, yes, absolutely possible. It is certainly possible because a lot of these guys are dealing with injuries coming into these fights to varying degrees. Yes, bottom line, I do think it was possible that he was injured. Is the data convincing that he was injured? No, I don't think so, based on everything we've since learned.
The rematch ended in heartbreaking fashion, but the biggest revelation came after the fight when Conor McGregor opened up about the emotional struggle he's been carrying behind closed doors, calling the experience hell while vowing to fight his way back. McGregor's brutally honest words have sparked fresh debate about whether the former two-division champion can write one more comeback story. As Dr. Bryan reviewed the footage frame by frame, he spotted details that challenge the popular narrative. Rather than seeing the violent knee movement and instability normally associated with a torn ACL, he found no clear evidence of those classic warning signs. Instead, the breakdown suggested a far less severe possibility of a meniscus injury, raising serious doubts about whether the initial diagnosis had been exaggerated.
See that here with McGregor. We don't see any recoil backup of the calf. And if we go and we look at what happened with Carlos Ulberg when he injured his knee, what I want you to pay attention to is that shift, because that shift is what we call pathognomonic. If you see it, you know it's a torn ACL. Now, just because you don't see that shift and pop back doesn't mean it's not an ACL, but seeing it makes me very concerned, and you would say obvious ACL. This was here with Ulberg, right, when he was fighting for Hoska. You see as he stepped backwards to plant on that right leg, we're gonna see that tibia is a little bit shifted forward relative to his femur. What you really wanna watch for is as we advance, watch how his calf, right there, kind of pops back up. And so that transition in those few frames where we go from seeing that prominence of that tibial tuberosity shifted forward to then as we click through, boom, it kind of pops back up. That's what I'm referring to by seeing this shift that you'll often see when you look in slow-mo when these athletes have ACL injuries. With Conor here, we did not see that. We had every angle to see it, and we don't see it. As he comes down and lands, there is no shifting forward of that tibia. Also, he's coming forward. A lot of his weight being behind his body is a good thing for the ACL. Certainly, we do see that little bit of compromising position, but there's no rotation of the leg. There's no internal rotation of the tibia. If anything, the leg swings outward, and we don't see that shift. We don't see that recoil back upwards in the calf like we do with what I just showed you with Carlos Ulberg. So that's why I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic that this isn't an ACL. Yes, we absolutely have to be concerned about the ACL, but I'm still hopeful that this is just a lateral meniscus tear.
The strongest argument behind the injury speculation came when Conor appeared uncomfortable removing his shoe and briefly hesitated before putting pressure on his right leg. To many fans, it looked like proof he entered the octagon already hurt. But Dr. Bryan urged caution, explaining that a single awkward movement isn't enough to conclude McGregor was carrying a significant knee injury before the fight.
So now let's talk more about the shoe part of this, because yes, I think this is really the only thing that I would look at and say, yeah, I could see where there's a little bit of an injury. We don't see him really tending to favor that right leg as he's going to take the shoe off, right? Yeah, maybe there's a little bit. So, right, he's trying to pull it off with his foot. We see a little bit of a stumble as he's trying to maintain his balance, and then he doesn't want to put that right leg down. That, to me, does suggest somebody who's a little bit apprehensive of putting weight on their right leg. And so seeing just this, I would be more on that side of yes, previous injury.
Just as the rumors gained momentum, footage from Conor's locker room warm-up painted an entirely different picture. He pushed explosively off his right leg, fired powerful kicks, and moved with confidence without showing the hesitation expected from someone dealing with a major knee injury. According to Dr. Bryan, this sequence became the clearest indication that McGregor walked into the cage in much better condition than many believed.
I think there's enough there that, like, yeah, you see this, it looks pretty good. Like, he lands single leg. This does not look to me like somebody who's dealing with a right knee injury. We see him land on that leg multiple times as he goes to kick, right up here, there he goes. Kind of comes down, he explodes off that leg, he's kicking with it. Now, the only different thing is he doesn't land quite as awkward on this warm up here, right? As he comes up and jumps and lands. He's in that same position with that trunk kind of tilted over the injured side, but he doesn't look hesitant. He never looks down to grab at his knee. I understand that sort of idea that, like, well, why would you be putting your body through this in the warm up? If you had a compromised leg, you'd surely have a different game plan. So the shoe coming off in the walkout, yeah, I could see that being consistent with being hesitant about putting weight on that right leg. But then when you see these warm-up clips of him like back in the locker room, this puts me much more on the side of like, no, that knee looked to be in pretty good shape, at least when he was out there warming up. Now, maybe something happened between, but this to me in the warm-ups does not look like somebody dealing with a knee injury.
After examining every available angle, Dr. Bryan delivered a conclusion that went against much of the online speculation. While he acknowledged a minor meniscus issue couldn't be ruled out, he found little evidence supporting the claim that McGregor entered the fight with a serious ACL tear. Based on the explosive movement during warm-ups, he believes the most significant injury likely happened inside the octagon rather than before the opening bell.
So to put it all together, I think there is more evidence now watching that pre-fight warm-up video. I would say there is more evidence against a pre-existing knee injury than there is evidence for a pre-existing knee injury. You can never rule out one or the other. You can never definitively prove one or the other without Conor coming out and saying, but like, what's the benefit to him of coming out and saying he had an injury? We're probably not going to hear anything about anything previous. Remember, at his age with the sport that he's done, there's probably some degree of trauma to that knee. It would not be unheard of if he had a previous meniscus injury that maybe was completely asymptomatic, and then whenever he fought, landed twisted, caused a progression of a tear, caused a new bucket handle tear that made it impossible for him to continue. I certainly do not think he had a previous ACL tear that he came into the fight with. We would not have seen him do that warm-up. We would not have seen that much stability or that much function this acutely after an ACL injury. So I think the only possibility here is that there was maybe a previous meniscus injury. But again, the warm-up video looks far better than I think the taking off the shoe video looks bad, if that makes sense.
Dr. Bryan emphasized that everything now hinges on the official medical diagnosis because the recovery timeline could change dramatically. A meniscus tear could allow Conor to resume training relatively quickly, while an ACL rupture would likely keep him out for close to a year. Until doctors confirm the exact damage, every prediction about his comeback remains nothing more than informed speculation.
If this is just a meniscus injury, the surgery might honestly be as simple as going in and cutting out the torn piece of tissue in the meniscus, and he could be back sparring in like 6 weeks. When they go in and do surgery for a meniscus tear, the goal is to repair the tear. The goal is to suture back that torn tissue, especially in the lateral or the outer meniscus, to try and maintain the biomechanic function, the stability, that roll of the meniscus. But sometimes surgeons don't know until they get in there. And so this could be we'll have to wait and see until we get in there again if this is a meniscus tear. Surgery for a meniscus repair is often going to have a 3 to 6 month recovery timeframe. If this is an ACL, then yes, we're looking at more like 10 to 12 months, probably around a year, to where I would expect to see at the earliest Conor back next summer or probably next fall.
Dustin Poirier shared a harsh assessment, saying that although McGregor still looks physically imposing, his face reflects the wear of years spent outside peak competition. He believes an unhealthy lifestyle may finally be taking its toll, despite Conor's muscular frame. Poirier added that if the injury proves to be a torn ACL, combined with McGregor's age and lengthy absence, returning to championship form becomes an incredibly difficult challenge.
But definitely he looked bloated. I thought his face looked a little shiny under his eyes, looked a little full. His cheeks looked full. You know, that could be because he's been living an unhealthy lifestyle.
100%.
Also, he is fighting up at welterweight. You know, that's 15 pounds heavier than his normal weight class at 155. But I don't feel like 15 pounds would make you your face that bloated. I don't know what's going on. His body looked fit. His face looked unhealthy. It's going to be tough. The thing is, if he did, I'm not sure the extent of his injuries. If it's a torn ACL after 5 years away, that's another year on the sideline. At his age, I think he's done. If he tore his ACL, he's done. He'll never come back the same. That was the big question coming into this one. Can he pull it all together after this horrific injury and come back? But how many times can you cry wolf before the fans are like, we're not breaking ticket gate records anymore. We're not flying across the world to watch you fight. We know what we get with you. How many times can you do this before people start moving on? He has to ask himself, what is he doing? He's almost 40 years old. He's been out 5 years. If his knee's blown out, that's another year. With the record-breaking career he's had, I would just hate to see him be a freak show fighter like that and only come out for these exhibitions and I don't want to see that. That's not real fighting to me.
The Weasel questioned why Conor McGregor would risk his highly anticipated comeback by throwing such a risky hopping switch kick against an opponent as experienced as Max Holloway. In his opinion, Holloway read the strike almost instantly, making it one of the lowest percentage attacks Conor could have chosen. Instead of producing a highlight reel moment, that single decision became the turning point that ruined his return.
But honestly, I really question why he even threw this kick. What was he thinking? Like, he throws this weird hopping switch kick at Max. I don't know what told him that he was going to land this on someone like Max Holloway. It didn't even get close. I mean, look how far away he throws the kick. Expecting this to land on someone like Max is crazy. Max is such a good fighter, very mobile, elusive in the stand-up. It's not going to land on him. And Max sees it from a mile away, picks up his guard, moves away, causes the kick to miss, and Conor lands wrong, blowing out his knee, and that was it. I mean, he threw another kick after, looked like he wanted to test his knee if it was still okay, and off of the second high kick, that misses as well, and his knee buckles once more.
The Weasel believes the comeback started falling apart the instant McGregor's knee gave way following his opening kick. Even after attempting another kick to test the leg, the knee appeared to fail once again, convincing him that the damage had already been done. Within moments, what was supposed to be a triumphant return had transformed into a devastating setback.
Absolutely tore something in his knee for sure, and he's going to be out for a very long time. Conor's done. He should retire. First he broke his left leg, now he injured his right leg, and it's pretty interesting because now in both Max fights, his knee got injured. In the first one, Max injured it in a grappling exchange, and in this one, for the second fight, Conor injures it himself, throwing a very unnecessary technique. This did not need to be thrown at all. I mean, expecting this to land on Max is insane. Out the gate like that for your big return. He must have been extremely confident in this kick. He threw it from so far too. He wanted the grand moment. He wanted the big comeback and finish it spectacularly. That's probably what he meant when he said that Max was not going to lay a glove on him. Because not only did he think this was going to land, but he probably thought this was going to knock Max out too.
The Weasel also praised Max Holloway's exceptional fight IQ, explaining that the moment Max recognized Conor's compromised leg, he wasted no time attacking it. Every calf kick, stomp, and burst of pressure further weakened McGregor's balance, taking away the effectiveness of his signature left hand. Holloway quickly turned his opponent's physical setback into the defining advantage of the fight.
Well, after he falls from the second kick, Max throws some ground and pound shots, Conor kicks him away, and right away Max starts targeting that leg with kicks. Throws a few leg kicks at him. It causes Conor's left hand to be thrown very awkwardly. He can't get his balance right. Max tries a stomp on the knee. Very intelligent by him. You know, he sees an opponent who has a weakness. He's going to attack it to win the fight. Very cerebral from Max. And Conor evades it. He actually picks his leg above it. And this could have been a perfect side kick if he wasn't injured there. Look how the leg's already chambered. Just a side kick straight into the body would have been perfect as a counter. But then after Conor tries to measure for the left hand, he parries the lead to open up the center. But when he steps to throw it, he loses balance again, falls to his knees, and Max lands a right hand, throws more ground and pound, and you can see Max is already asking the ref to step in. Conor's clearly hurt, and the fight is only going to get worse. Conor kept fighting though. Conor gets back up, and he goes to feint a knee. He picks up his left knee, which is putting all of his weight on his right leg that is injured. And that causes him to stumble once again, and the fight was over.
According to the Weasel, McGregor's opening kick was a costly miscalculation that underestimated Holloway's movement, timing, and awareness. He argued that Conor's downfall wasn't created by Max's offense alone, but by his own decision to throw such a high-risk strike. In a matter of seconds, one gamble wiped away years of anticipation surrounding his long-awaited comeback.
I think it was just an unnecessary move to throw. That is clearly underestimating Max Holloway to be throwing something like that at him. Like, it could probably work against Marcus Brimage, you know, but it's not going to work on someone like Max. That's insane. And Max didn't even have to throw a punch. Conor took himself out of the fight, and that was the easiest payday ever for Max. He walked in, didn't have to throw a punch, walked out with millions, and said he was going to go to the craps table. I mean, why not? Can't complain. I really understand why Max wants the third one. Maybe Conor injures himself again and he gets millions on top of that too. And I think Conor just needs to retire. It's over. It's over. The big, great comeback is not going to happen.
As Conor McGregor's emotional post-fight confession has sparked fresh questions about the true extent of the injury that ended his long-awaited return. Medical expert Dr. Bryan breaks down the footage frame by frame, challenging the early ACL claims and suggesting the damage may not be as severe as many feared. Meanwhile, Dustin Poirier weighs in on what McGregor's age, lifestyle, and long layoff could mean for any future comeback. The Weasel also dissects the fight itself, explaining how one risky decision changed everything and how Max Holloway instantly capitalized on the injury. With the official diagnosis still pending, the debate over McGregor's future is only getting more intense. As always, the final answer will only come once Conor McGregor's official medical report is released. Until then, fans and analysts can only piece together the evidence and debate what really happened inside the octagon. One thing is certain, this injury has completely changed the conversation surrounding McGregor's future, and the next update could determine whether another legendary comeback is still possible. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest MMA news, fight analysis, and post-fight reactions. Share this video with your fellow fight fans and let us know in the comments. Do you believe Conor McGregor can make one final comeback, or has this injury changed everything? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.